Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's August 30th, 2016, in the National Football League. Big headlines out of Minnesota. Their starting quarterback for their football team has gone down in what they're saying is a serious injury in a non contact drill. And the purpose of this video is to expose to NFL fans how fake, how scripted the NFL is. Teddy Bridgewater's injury today is 100% fake. I'm going to prove it to you. We're also going to talk about the death of Denny Green the night before they open the new US Bank Stadium set to host Super Bowl 52 that the Vikings will be playing in this year for the first time. And we're also going to talk about the death of Prince and again how that connects to this upcoming NFL season. ESPN with their timestamps always putting numbers that are significant. 129 is a number that connects to America. The NFL calls itself America's game. We'll talk more about that. But here's why this happened today, August 30th. Think about the date. 8/30 as we write it in the US. 8 plus 30 is 38. This number is specific to Minnesota and US Bank Stadium, the name of the new stadium. The phrase non-contact also has gematria of 38. And look at this. From the day that they had fan day for the opening of the new stadium, July 23rd, until the injury today is 38 days later. And not by coincidence. The day that fan day happened, the article was about how awful the weather was. The fans were getting dumped on, the wind was terrible. You know, what I want people to do with this research is wake up to what is really going on in this world, how we, the people, are getting screwed over. I live here in Seattle. You guys got Teddy Bridgewater through the Seahawks. If you weren't aware, Vikings fans, go back and look at the draft. 2014, that pick came from Seattle. Last year, you shanked a field goal from 27 yards on a date with 27 numerology with a kicker, Walsh, that has a name gematria of 27. A gift from the Vikings to the Seahawks in the scripted NFL by the numbers. But anyhow, up here in Seattle, years ago, a new stadium was built for the Seahawks, and the team, the Seahawks, was owned by Paul Allen, who was one of the very richest men in the entire world at the time, multi-billionaire, part of the Bill Gates, Microsoft, Apple, all that. Paul Allen, owner of the Seahawks, owner of the Portland Trail Blazers, did the same things in both cities, got the taxpayers in Portland and Seattle to pay for the stadiums for his teams that he makes money off of. This multi-billionaire gets the taxpayers of these cities who work every single day, pay taxes. And then what do they get in return? They get a stadium that houses rigged sports that they're not aware of, Meanwhile, the multi-billionaires sit back, know it's a rigged spectacle, make all this money off the masses, have them pay their bills, and the masses, they eat it all up. And then a person like me comes along and tries to tell them, what's what, and they hate me for it. So anyhow, we still need to get to Denny Green. A few more interesting things here. The number 38 in numerology is 3 plus 8 equals 11. 11 is the master number in numerology. What's interesting about the word master in gematria is it sums to 31, and 31 is the 11th prime number, coming back to 11. So anyway, this news comes 11 days before the start of the season, September 11th in Tennessee against the Titans. That's who the Vikings start their season with. We'll talk about why that's significant. So far, US Bank Stadium is not bringing the good luck. So Teddy Bridgewater, from today's news until his upcoming birthday, which will be his 24th, is 2 months and 11 days. The number 211 is the 47th prime number. This year's Super Bowl 51, will be the 47th Super Bowl of the modern era. Super Bowl 47, the first Super Bowl ever played was at the end of the 66-67 season, which was also the 47th season of the NFL. So 211, 47 relevant numbers. I just talked about how Tony Romo was replaced by Dak Bryant by the numbers. Dak Bryant born on the 211th day this year. Tony Romo born on the 112th. Tony Romo born the same day Prince died. We'll get to Prince. Teddy Bridgewater, the 32nd overall pick of the 2014 draft. The pick came through Seattle. who beat them on the shanked field goal in the rigged game in the NFL playoffs last year. For you NFL fans who don't think the games are rigged, let's just put the numbers aside and let's think about this. I know you NFL fans watch all the games. I saw the end of the Bengals and Steelers game last year, and with no time outs left and almost no time on the clock and nowhere near field goal position, what did the Steelers do at the end of the game? They threw the ball to the middle of the field. That's a major no-no in football. You don't throw the ball to the middle of the field with no timeouts and no position to score with no time left. That's just game over. But what happened on that play? Instead of the Bengal making the tackle, it was a big hit in the air, right? Ben Roethlisberger threw the ball high, so the receiver had to jump up, room for the, It's all scripted. That entire play was scripted. And yes, they script violence and hard hits into the game because that's what people watch for. It's just like the WWF. That was just like the guy flying off the top ropes with the elbow out. A scripted play to piss off fans. What happened on that play? Huge penalty, so they got to jump up all these yards, plus wear the ball. And then what happened? They won the game, defeating the Bengals, who often lose in folly. There's this grand mocking of the Ohio teams in football when Ohio's the birthplace of football, and I don't think that's any coincidence. The powers that be love to shit on the fans, and seemingly the best of the fans. You look at these teams that have the best fans, they're the teams that never win anything. Well, that's not true in every sport, but in a lot of these NFL cities it is. So anyway, Teddy Bridgewater, his birth name in gematria sums to 131, a special number in the NFL. 131 is the 32nd prime number. Again, he was the 32nd overall pick. The NFL has 32 teams. It calls itself America's game. NFL in America sum to 32. And with regards to the relationship between 32 and 131, Super Bowl equals 131, championship equals 131, 57 equals 131. The nickname Denny Green equals 57, World Series equals 57. Last year, the story all season on ESPN's webpage about the 57 kids from Indiana named after Peyton Manning. Here was ESPN's top story earlier today. Von Miller, number 58 with the 58-second timestamp. Freemasonry equals 58. Last year, I predicted the Super Bowl successfully, largely by that number, even calling Von Miller as the MVP, calling a Black Panther tribute, all because of this number. Putting it before your eyes all the time. That's how I don't know how I have critics. Anybody who comes to my work and listens and then just pays attention to ESPN the next time they watch it, the nightly news, the next website they go to, this stuff is always in front of your face. That's how I'm able to create so much content, because it's always going on. Once you see the language, it's undeniable what they're doing. So there's a rumor already that the Vikings, to replace Teddy Bridgewater, might go out and get another quarterback. And on ESPN, they're already talking about it. Could Colin Kaepernick be a fit after the fallout in San Francisco just days ago? Well, here's what's so funny about that. Today's date numerology, the full date, has 74 numerology, special number, the reflection of 47, which we talked about. Masonic equals 74, Jewish 74, Colin Kaepernick equals 74. And should Kaepernick end up on the Vikings, just know that all of this was scripted. We'll pay attention to whatever happens. I should look at the remaining QBs on the Vikings roster. There might be somebody there already. But if they go out and get someone, especially Kaepernick, remember this. So here's what else you need to know about Denny Green. Denny Green died at age 67. Number of death, blood sacrifice equals 67. Freemasonry also equals 67. I predicted Prince would die in February after the death of Vanity, who died just before the 58th Grammys. Prince ended up dying 67 days after Vanity. If you go back and watch the video from February, I talk about why Prince better watch out, and 67. He dies 67 days later. So Denny Green died at age 67 the night before they opened US Bank Stadium. They had the grand opening ceremony July 22nd, then they had Fan Day July 23rd. Denny Green sums to 57. Prince died at 57, so did Vanity. We just talked about this number. The stadium that the Vikings just built is going to host Super Bowl 52. The word prophecy equals 52. Paisley Park equals 52, where Prince died. Prince is quoted saying, "All we can go by in this world is prophecy." The day Denny Green died was July 21st, exactly 52 days before the Vikings opener in Tennessee. And Tennessee sums to 52, just like prophecy. All scripted. Even ritual murder, it's all ritual by the numbers. Big topic. If you're new here, you got to visit my other work. I have a longer video on Denny Green. It goes into greater depth, but I just want to review some of these things. So Denny Green, he died July 21st. He was born February 17th, 2/17. Notice how his birth and death are a reshuffling of the numbers 2, 1, and 7. U.S. Bank Stadium in simple English gematria sums to 155. The small way 38. The two methods are interrelated. They'll always break down to the same numerology. 1 plus 5 plus 5 for 155 is 11. 38 is 3 plus 8 is 11. Break down to the same numbers. That's the check. From Denny Green's 67th birthday to the day he died was 155 days. He died the night before U.S. Bank Stadium opened. And I also recall when his death was first reported, a lot of sources said he died early in the morning of July 22nd, which was the day it opened. But then everyone went to July 21st, about 24 hours later. Makes me wonder if these people even really die, you know? I'm going to do another video after this on Prince. I'm going to give you a little preview about what the next video is about. It's a clue as to what I just said, though. Are these people even really dying? Also, just for some trivia, the date that it opened, July 22nd, what's special about that date is it's written 22/7 in most parts of the world. If you divide 22 by 7, you get the number pi, 3.14 decimal point repeating. If you write out 22 divided by 7 in gematria, it sums to 314. 314, a lot like 3.14 for pi. Very interesting how that works out in our language and mathematics. There's a movie out there called Pi, P-I, based off of the mathematical symbol, and it explains gematria in the beginning of that film. That film, a major cluing in of this whole gematria thing. So my next video, one more thing before we get there about Prince. I also want to remind you, the owner of the Vikings lost his father on August 3rd, 2016, 27 days before this. Football equals 83. August 3rd, 8/3, that's Tom Brady's birthday. Peyton Manning was born on the 83rd day of the year. A lot of 83 connections in the world of name gematria, birth numerology, and football. You know, today's 38, the reflection of 83. I have a video on this death, a longer video if you want to watch it. What I point out, though, is the day he died is exactly 187 days before the upcoming Super Bowl on February 5th, which can be written 5/2, a lot like 52 for prophecy. You know, his death for the upcoming Super Bowl, possibly to pay tribute to the Super Bowl that they'll be hosting right after, Super Bowl 52. By the way, Houston Texans equals 51, just like conspiracy, and they're hosting Super Bowl 51. But 187, the homicide code. The owner of the Vikings dying on a very suspicious date earlier this month. Remember, these Zionist Jews run media, run pro sports, always reinforce their propaganda. You know, they very well might have ritually sacrificed this old man by the numbers, and they want to bring up right away the Holocaust propaganda within these lies. And if you don't know that the Holocaust is propaganda, then you don't know who owns and operates this world and lies to us daily and creates these false narratives, even boiling down to fake injuries of overpaid quarterbacks. And that is the Zionist Jew. The Zionist Jew runs your media, owns your history books, owns your nation, and we're living in their world, a world based on lies and deceit. Speaking of lies and deceit, Prince has this song, I Would Die For You. You is the 21st letter, 4/21. Prince just died on 4/21, April 21st. I'm going to do a longer video about this. It will blow your mind. I have a Prince playlist, how I predicted his death and everything I've covered since. I'm just showing you these examples so that you understand this by the numbers thing is no joke. And a lot of this stuff is planned way in advance. And as I've been explaining, these athletes are born and bred to be. They're named accordingly. And they're pretty much plugged into slots that have already been written and scripted. You know, imagine that somebody's writing a really long story. You know, a story that goes day by day for 100 years. And, 50 years out, they've drawn up this character and what he's going to do. There are people being born and raised in this world to fill that slot someday, to be that quarterback, to be that politician, to be that actor. Teddy Bridgewater And almost all these other athletes in the league are those people. Prince seems to be one of these people as a musician. I'll also be doing a video on the death of Gene Wilder at 83 in Wisconsin. Well, he actually died in Connecticut, but he's from Wisconsin. You know, Wisconsin football state, 83 football. Gene Wilder equals 57, that championship number. Prince dead at 57, just like Vanity. Apollonia, if you're out there, look out. She just turned 57. She has some connections to Prince and Vanity. Anyway, Truth Seeker, until next time.